newspaper editor. He worked for the Allentown newspaper for 23 years and was the editor of the opinion pages and a vice president when he left. His editorials on politics and government have won a series of awards in peer judge competitions, the most recent coming from the Society of Professional Journalists in 2009. In 2008, he was named Speaker of the Year by the Pennsylvania Communication Association. Previously, he worked for 15 years at the former Globe Times in Bethlehem, where he served as managing editor. Cransley now is a self-employed consultant and freelance editor and writer. Since 1980, he has taught journalism courses at Cedar Crest, Muhlenberg, and Moravian colleges. This year, he is teaching at Lehigh University and Penn State Lehigh Valley. Glenn and his wife, Susan, are residents of Hellertown. Please join me in welcoming Glenn Cransley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be with you tonight, and I want to ask you to promise to refrain from cheering, booing, laughing. During the program tonight, it takes away from the time of the candidates to respond to their questions. So we're going to ask you to refrain from doing that, and that will help the program move a bit more smoothly. I wanted to say just a couple things about what's happening here tonight. You know, this campaign, the campaign for the 15th district seat, has attracted a lot of attention, not just here in Pennsylvania, but in Washington. And that's because the 15th district is not a solid seat for one party or the other. It changes from time to time. And partly for that reason, a lot of money has been spent on this campaign, much more than the average congressional campaign costs. And we know where a lot of that money has gone. We see the ads on TV, we hear them on the radio. When I see those ads and listen to them on the radio, you can feel that the candidates, through their campaigns, are talking past each other. They're not even speaking the same language sometimes. Tonight, that's not going to happen. Tonight, the candidates will answer the questions that I pose, questions that you have written for them. Neither candidate nor either campaign has seen these questions or approved of them. So it's a chance for you, voters and citizens, to listen to the candidates. Watch them think on their feet or sitting. And the other reason that I'm so proud to be here tonight is this is the town square. This is what the founders had in mind when they set out for us this American democratic experiment. People in a community coming together, exchange ideas, and use the information they get to make decisions about the government they want. So I am humbled to have been asked to be a part of that. And I thank the Federation and its partners for this program tonight. I am going to flip a coin, and I will do it NFL style, let it land on the ground. And the winner of the coin toss will go first in the opening remarks. And then when we get to the questions, I'll alternate. We'll take turns. We'll take turns going first. Congressman, I'm going to ask you to call. I haven't let it before. Heads. It is heads. Do you want to go first? I'll go second. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I want to thank the Jewish Federation of Lehigh Valley for hosting this important forum, because this is an important election that we're all faced with, and an important decision on November 2nd. As was talked about in my introduction, I have had the privilege over the course of going on 7 years of being mayor of my hometown of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Prior to that, I had the opportunity to be a city councilman in my hometown for 6 years. And if you think about where Bethlehem was 10 or 15 years ago, there were a lot of folks looking backward. There were a lot of folks lamenting about what Bethlehem lost and weren't necessarily thinking about what Bethlehem could be. I always believed that Bethlehem's best days were ahead of it. I ran for city council and I ran for mayor because I wanted to give back. I felt very blessed for having had the opportunity to grow up in Bethlehem. The teachers that I had, the coaches that I had, the parents that have had an impact in my life. I wouldn't be in this room without their influence, and I wanted to give something back to my city. When you think about where Bethlehem was then, it's not unlike where this country is today. We're at a bit of a crossroads in this country as well. We've done some good things in Bethlehem. I'm very proud of the fact that working together with the private sector, we've been able to drive $2 billion of economic investment over the course of the last 6+ years. That investment has resulted in more than 5,000 new jobs in the city, even in the midst of some difficult economic times. We've balanced budgets in the city. We've paid down $60 million of debt. There is $60 million less debt today, as I stand here in this room, than there was when I took office back in 2004. Not many governments, the federal, the state, or many local governments can make that claim. It's taken discipline and it's taken focus to do that. We haven't had a tax increase in Bethlehem in more than 4 years, despite what you might hear to the contrary. And we've cut $10 million of government waste in the city. Those are real results. This election and the choice that you're faced with and the challenges facing this country is about jobs, and it's about debt and deficits and government spending. I have a real record of success around both of those issues. There weren't many people 10 or 15 years ago with the demise of Bethlehem Steel imagining that we'd be on the 100 best place to live list, or the 100 best place to raise a family, or the 100 best place in the country to launch a small business. Now, I don't take the credit for that. I don't think it's City Hall. I don't think it's a mayor. It's everybody working collectively to make good things happen. And I'm proud of our results in Bethlehem. Now, elections are about the future. They're not about what you've done. They're not about the past. They're about what you're going to do. And that's why I focused so much over the course of this campaign on jobs and reducing debt and deficits. It's why I've put forward a 5-point plan to do just that, grow jobs in this country and reduce debt and deficit. You can look at this plan on CallahanJobsPlan.com. There are copies of the plan out at our table. I'm going to touch briefly on those 5 points, on the 5 points of that plan. It starts by closing tax loopholes on large corporations that are outsourcing our jobs. It takes the proceeds of closing those tax loopholes and investing them back into small businesses. I think we all recognize that small businesses have been hit hard during this recession, but it's small businesses that create 2/3 of the jobs in this country, and they're going to create 2/3 of this country, jobs in this country going forward. If we're going to lower our unemployment rate in this country and here in the Lehigh Valley, we're going to do it by investing in small business. We're also going to make college more affordable. It's a third point of the plan. And it's not just 4-year degrees that we're going to make more affordable. It's going to be investing in community college and investing in trade schools so that those who have lost their job during the recession will have the opportunity to get new training to compete for jobs in the 21st century. And points 4 and 5 are taking a program that we have implemented quite successfully in Bethlehem, a program called Continuous Improvement, a program that we've borrowed from the private sector, from Air Products and Chemicals, that has empowered our employees to eliminate $10 million worth of government waste and reduce our debt by $60 million, and we're going to apply that to the federal level. If we can reduce $10 million off the budget of the city of Bethlehem, imagine what we can do by applying continuous improvement at the federal level. And we're going to also use continuous improvement to reduce the red tape that is holding small business back from investing. It used to take 42 days for a small business to get a permit to open in the city of Bethlehem. It now takes 14 days. And we can do the same thing at the federal level. Now, that's my record on jobs, and it's my proposals going forward on jobs and reducing debt and deficit. I have a very different record than my opponent in this race, Charlie Dent. His record is supporting the failed economic policies that got us here in the first place. Economic policies that led to the loss of more than 8 million jobs in this country, 18,000 jobs in the Lehigh Valley,